450 tons of peanut butter every single week. Enough in 1 year for billions of sandwiches, all flowing out of a factory where peanuts move faster than your eyes can track, and where a single mistake can ruin an entire batch of crunchy perfection. Behind every jar of crunchy peanut butter on your shelf, there's an industrial ballet you're never meant to see. Conveyor belts, roasting tunnels, grinders spinning at terrifying speeds, and quality checks that decide whether a peanut becomes part of a beloved brand or gets rejected in a fraction of a second. Today, we're stepping inside that world, following the journey from raw peanut to that satisfying crunch on your toast. If you enjoy this kind of deep dive into how everyday foods are really made, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next factory we walk into. Our story starts long before the jar with something deceptively simple: choosing the right peanut. For a brand like Jif, the process begins with truckloads of shelled peanuts arriving at the plant, often enough in a single day to fill entire warehouses. These aren't random nuts scooped from a field. They're selected for size, oil content, and flavor profile because a crunchy peanut butter has a very specific job. It has to spread smoothly but still bite back with those little roasted pieces. The first stop is inspection. The peanuts are poured into massive hoppers and fed onto vibrating sorting tables and high-speed belts. Here, machines armed with cameras and sensors scan each peanut in milliseconds, looking for defects, discoloration, or foreign objects. Any peanut that doesn't meet the standard is blasted off the line with a puff of air. It's ruthless, but necessary. When you're producing hundreds of tons a week, one bad batch doesn't just mean a ruined afternoon. It can mean a nationwide recall. Once the peanuts pass inspection, they head into the heart of the flavor, the roasting line. Imagine a steel tunnel longer than a city bus, heated to precise temperatures, where peanuts slowly tumble through on a moving mesh belt. The timing here is everything. Too short and the peanuts taste raw and grassy. Too long and you get bitterness and a dark color that consumers reject instantly. Operators monitor temperature and time constantly because the factory might be producing enough peanut butter each year for 2 billion sandwiches. But every single batch still has to taste like the one you grew up with. As the peanuts roast, their moisture content drops, their natural oils begin to unlock, and that familiar toasted aroma fills the air. At the end of the tunnel, powerful fans cool them rapidly. This sudden cooling isn't just to make them safe to handle. It locks in the flavor and stops the roasting process at the exact right moment. Then the peanuts move into a machine that removes their papery skins and splits off the tiny hearts, the inner tips that can taste slightly bitter. Those hearts are separated out, because in a premium crunchy peanut butter, even a hint of off flavor is unacceptable. Now the factory divides the peanuts into two destinies. Some will become the smooth, creamy base, and others will be reserved as the crunchy pieces. The ones marked for crunch are usually roasted to the same profile, then held aside in large stainless steel bins. They'll be chopped later to just the right size, big enough to feel, small enough not to break your bread. The rest of the peanuts head into industrial grinders, where the real transformation begins. Inside those grinders, heavy steel plates or stones spin at high speed, crushing peanuts into an ever finer paste. The first pass turns them into a coarse mash. A second and sometimes third pass polishes that mash into a silky flowing cream. During this process, the friction from grinding generates heat, and that heat has to be controlled carefully. Too much, and the oils can separate or oxidize, affecting shelf life and flavor. So the system is designed to keep the peanut stream at a temperature that's warm enough to flow but not hot enough to damage it. This is also the stage where the recipe comes into play. For a classic crunchy peanut butter, the base isn't just peanuts. Depending on the brand and market, the factory may add a small amount of vegetable oil to control texture, sugar to balance the natural earthiness, and salt to sharpen the flavor. Everything is dosed by weight with industrial precision. A computer-controlled system meters ingredients into the flowing peanut stream, maintaining the same ratio, jar after jar, ton after ton. In a plant that can produce more than 450 tons a week, even a tiny error in those ratios would be multiplied on a massive scale. With the creamy base ready, it's time to bring the crunch back in. Remember those reserved peanuts? They're not simply tossed in whole. They pass through special cutting machines that chop them into uniform pieces. Too big and they'll sink or clump. Too small and you lose the satisfaction of the bite. The goal is a specific particle size distribution that food scientists have tested over and over, until they found the sweet spot where your brain says, "That's crunchy," but your knife still glides through the spread. The chopped peanuts are then folded into the warm flowing peanut butter in large mixing tanks. Giant paddles turn slowly, lifting and folding the mixture so that the pieces are evenly distributed from top to bottom. This is more complicated than it looks. If the peanut butter is too fluid, the chunks sink toward the bottom of the tank and your jar ends up with a surprise layer of extra crunch. If it's too thick, the mixing becomes uneven and the machinery strains. Engineers tune the viscosity, how thick or thin the peanut butter is, so that every spoonful from every jar feels the same. Before this mixture ever sees a jar, it has to pass another round of checks. Samples are pulled from the line and tested for texture, oil separation, flavor, and even the sound of the crunch when you bite down. Factories that produce for global brands operate under strict quality standards. They measure moisture content to prevent spoilage, check for the absence of contaminants like aflatoxins, and verify that the salt and sugar levels match the brand's target profile. When a company has been making peanut butter for decades, like Skippy since the early 20th century or Jif since the mid-1900s, consistency becomes part of their identity. The jar you open today has to taste like the one someone opened 30 years ago. Once the batch is approved, the peanut butter flows through stainless steel pipes toward the filling line. Here, the pace changes from slow mixing to high-speed choreography. Empty jars arrive in long rows on a conveyor, already labeled or about to be sleeved with branding that's recognized in supermarkets around the world. The filling machines are synchronized with the conveyor so precisely that each nozzle knows exactly when a jar is under it, dispensing just under 500 grams in a fraction of a second. Fill too much, and the company loses money on every jar. Fill too little, and regulators and customers notice. Right after filling, the jars move under capping machines that spin on the familiar plastic lids in one smooth motion. A safety seal, either a foil under the cap or a tamper-evident band, is applied. Then the jars are inverted briefly or pass through a gentle heat tunnel to ensure proper sealing. Date codes and batch numbers are printed or laser-etched onto the lid or shoulder of the jar, turning each container into a traceable data point. If a problem ever appears, that code tells the company exactly when and where the jar was filled and which batch of peanuts it came from. From there, the jars march through final inspection. Cameras check that each lid is straight, each label correctly aligned, each safety seal intact. Faulty jars are automatically pushed off the line. The good ones are grouped into packs, loaded into cardboard cases, and stacked on pallets by robotic arms that never get tired. Those pallets are wrapped and sent to distribution centers, then to supermarkets, then to your kitchen cabinet, completing a journey that started with a truckload of anonymous peanuts and ended with a product that feels personal enough to argue about. Creamy or crunchy, the twist is that the perfect crunch isn't an accident or just extra peanuts thrown in at the end. It's a carefully engineered experience, tuned through roasting temperatures, grind profiles, particle sizes, and mixing speeds. When you hear that tiny crackle between your teeth, you're hearing the outcome of industrial design, food science, and decades of brand history, all compressed into a single spoonful. If seeing how peanuts become crunchy peanut butter changed the way you look at your sandwich, wait until you watch potatoes turn into ultra-thin, perfectly seasoned chips. The same obsession with texture and flavor plays out in a completely different way on a chip factory line. That story's waiting for you in our next episode about a modern potato chip factory. See you there.